Whoops, sorry about that. Here we go. That's a little bit better. Hey everybody, this is Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead. Oh, things are a little bit crazy still. Oh, it was lots of fun yesterday. I had a ewe in heat and was fixated on Georgie. I had a doe in heat, fixated on Timmy. As a matter of fact, I gotta go back out there and see if she's got her head stuck again. She's been sticking her head through the fence to get to Timmy, because you know how sexy those bucks smell this time of year. Anyway, she's been sticking her head through the fence and she's been getting her head stuck because she has lovely horns. Anyway, so I discovered this morning that Mr. Georgie managed to get out. So I have a feeling that my spotted ewe has been bred by Georgie. Here I had bought 2 breeding harnesses and 2 different colored chalks to put on my rams, so I would know who got what and when everybody was bred. Well, Georgie got impatient, and he managed to bust out of out of the run-in. And I found him with the girls this morning. Hopefully, he only got the 1 ewe. It's not a big deal. He can breed any of the ewes without any problems. Well, except for the youngest. But I had wanted to breed her to Jasper, the other ram that's bigger. But needless to say, I have a feeling she's already been bred. And the worst part about it is that means she would lamb in February, which I did not want February lambs. So, at least she is a proven ewe, and she's been a good mother. So, that's one thing. If she was a first timer, it'd be different. It'd be more of a worry. But anyway, so love life on the farm. At least Timmy hasn't gotten out. Excuse me. Anyway, I haven't had the camera out. It's been so wet the last 2 days. It rained last night, and it rained the night before. When I say night, I mean early morning. And it stopped raining like maybe about an hour and a half ago. So, needless to say, I haven't had the camera out. I haven't been doing much outside. I've been taking advantage of the wet weather and trying to take care of paperwork. Yeah. I want to say something, and this is not for me, okay? Um, but what I have learned is that it is not easy to for a widow, okay? It's not easy to make the transition from being married to being a widow when it comes to government agencies and insurance and all that stuff. And then you also add to that, for me, and I know I'm not the only one, international sort of stuff. Okay. Um, Now, one thing that has helped is that I did have friends and family send me or give me some money. Okay? And I had hoped that I would not need it. And it kind of surprised me when people were handing me money, and it's something I wasn't accustomed to. And I'm not talking, $5 here or $10 there. I'm talking, in my books anyway, significant amount of money. Okay, and it's like, okay, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Not knowing that that was going to be so very important to me. And I want to encourage you, if you happen to know of a woman going through this, a widow, a new widow, and is going through the transition period, and you have it in your ability to do so, go ahead and hand her some cash, okay, as you're able to, because it's not easy. I may not see, like, we were getting a small payout from my husband's 401k, which I did not get this month. I do not know if I will get it next month. It all depends. I'm still in the process. You got to send information, and I have to mail a death certificate today, which I'll do after I'm done with this video. That's one anyway. And I may have to send another one to Canada. I'm not sure. I'm still working on that. It's so complicated. It's not straightforward. Yeah, you call these people, but you've got to have this piece of information, that piece of information, and you got to have everything. And there's one piece of information that I need for up in Canada, and I was surprised that it was not in my husband's wallet, because my husband didn't throw anything away, okay, but it was not there. I went through everything that was in his wallet. So I don't know where he had it. I just thought it's another place where I can look and see if it's there. And if it's not there, then I'm going to have to go through all the hoops to get that one piece of information. But I mean, that has to do with the Canadian stuff, which is not as big a deal as like the Social Security and the 401k. Those are my main two things. Yeah, the death benefit from Social Security is $250, by the way, just in case you're wondering. Yeah, that's very helpful. Anyway, I guess that's better than nothing, right? Every little bit helps. So the going through all this, and they could not get me an appointment for an interview until October 8th. So hopefully everything will be on the Social Security side. Hopefully everything will be sped up and taken care of that day, and I won't have to wait another month. Another thing, the my husband passed away just before his check was deposited. If he had passed away on the day or the day after his check was deposited, then I would not have lost that money. And it was over $1,000 that, because he passed away before his check is deposited, I lost that money. I lost that money for August. I lost that money for September. The fact that I lost it in August, which is the month that he passed away, means even if they retroactively pay, I'm sure I'm only going to be given the difference between his check and my check. Okay? So, which means I will have lost even more. Okay. Um, and $1,000 is nothing. Over $1,000 is nothing to sneeze at least for me. Um, so anyway, the transition period is harder than what I had anticipated, because the bills still come in, and what I decided to do was I am concentrating on utility bills, which there's only, well, there's the electric bill, the internet bill, and the cell phone bill. I did manage to get the cell phone knocked down to about in half. I still had to pay uh, more than that this last month, and I think there's still one more month that it's a little bit more than what the regular payment will be from here on out. Um, but the bat bill's been cut in half. Um, internet doesn't change. Electric bill, well, that's variable. We all know how that goes. So I'm going to do the best I can to keep my electric bill to a minimum. Um, and so I'm concentrating on those bills, okay, the utilities. And then after the utilities, then uh, the tractor bill, um, and then there's a credit card that is not used but it still has a balance on it, and my Lowe's card, which we haven't used that in months, um, but it has a balance, so I'm working on that. So those three, um, I'm gonna do the tractors for as long as I can. So so I've got that, and then after that, there's the medical bills. I am not touching the medical bills until I get everything resolved, because I just don't know. I don't know what my income is going to end up being. The hospital was supposed to send me uh, some some paperwork to apply for, I don't know what they call it, charity care or something. I don't know. Uh, and I have not received anything from them. So I just I'm putting that on the back burner for right now because I'm dealing with everything else. And once I get everything else straightened around and I know for sure what my income is, then I will go from there. I am working on getting the insurance money. Unfortunately, that's through a Canadian company. So hopefully that'll be sorted out. I sent them an email this morning so I can get I had a couple of questions in the forums. I haven't heard back from them yet. Uh, so hopefully I'll get a response from them pretty soon. I keep telling people, if you have a choice, don't marry a foreigner. Okay, it complicates things. I don't care what country you're in. You marry a foreigner, okay, in whichever country you end up living in, it complicates things. It does. So now I don't know if that would change if he had become a U.S. citizen. I don't know. I don't know if that would have changed anything. But anyway, just remember the widows when if you come across anybody in your family, a friend, anybody, because it's hard. It's not easy. Now, thankfully, my husband did have a bit of a cushion in his account that I was able to draw on and pay these bills. Unfortunately, there were a few expenses right around the time of his death that had to be dealt with, and so the account had dwindled a lot faster than I thought it would. Okay, so I'm trying to be really, really careful. not spending anything that I don't absolutely have to spend. Thankfully, I had some food stockpiled in here, so I'm not going hungry, and I'm only feeding myself and the animals. Um, I had money set aside for hay. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to pay a higher price for hay because my cheaper source did not was not able to uh, produce enough for what I need. So, you know, at least I was able to get something out from him, and he was very gracious about what he charged me. So, and I mean, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it, but I have had a neighbor tell me that, you know, if I can't pay for the hay, that it's okay. So, but I don't want to do that. I'd have to be pretty desperate to have to not pay him for his hay. Because if I can't afford to feed the animals, then I don't need to be having the animals. So that's the way I view it anyway. So, but anyway, we'll see how everything pans out. Hopefully, I can get through this, you know, without too much longer delay. Um, but just remember the widows in your prayers. Um, it's not easy. It really is not easy. Um, and I guess it makes it a little bit more difficult because there was no will. My husband would not even talk about a will. Um, so, I mean, he only had one wife. There were no ex wives or anything like that. And we only have one child. So it's not a huge problem in that respect. But if you don't have a will, I encourage you to get a will. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Once I get everything ironed out here, uh, I do intend to have a will drawn up just to make things a little bit easier. Um, so um, that's about all I can say, I guess, at this point. I'm still looking at a couple things. Walnuts are starting to drop. I need to start harvesting, but I got to get the fence done first, and I'm also trying to get all this paperwork sorted out between emails, phone calls, and what have you. Having to send documents through the mail. It gets a little bit taxing, a little bit tricky. So, but this video has been long enough. So this is Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead. Remember, I'm not asking for anything for myself. Like I said, I have had family and friends who have given me some money, and I'm ever so grateful for that. Because honestly, I did not expect that I would need it, and it's looking like I may very well. So, again, remember the widows. Just please remember the widows. Um, Mom H with Honey Hollow Homestead. I'll talk to y'all later.